If that's all that means, it's probably all that means. My goodness, this is literally going to be this bottom bit. This is straight up going to be this bottom bit. My goodness gracious. On we go. Look at those two. What a beautiful scene there.
Wow, this building. It's all shiny and sparkly. And that's right. This is where the robots are made. Robots are ultra high-tech machines. They can only be built in extremely clean places. Wow. Even the tiniest speck of dust is not permitted.
Tell that to my computer when I freaking go to clean it.
Good thing I wore clean clothes.
Tell that to my computer when I clean out the dust filters on that thing. There are definitely some cases of technology, though, where you want there to be, like, no dust. I mean, even in a computer, you're going to want as little dust as possible. You're obviously not in a machine like this, like I'm streaming on right now, going to be able to prevent every single bit of dust from getting in there, but, you know, as many as you can keep out of there is good. I have worked in an environment, though, where you want to get, like, as little dust as possible in there. There was one of the jobs that I had when I was working in IT was dismantling a server room, and what they literally had was, like, a set of 2 doors. Like, it almost felt like a weird quarantine thing, where it's, like, a kind of glass case, where it's, like, here's the first door, here's the second door, and it's, like, a glass case to actually get into the server room. So you had to open the first door, you had to close it all the way so you're inside the glass box, and only then can you enter the passcode onto the actual door and then open it. So, like, both doors can't be open at once, only one at a time. To, like, try to prevent as much dust from getting in there, you know? I'm trying to keep as much dust out of there as possible with the whole double door setup. You're not even allowed to open the second door unless the first one is closed, which made things really, really, really annoying when you had, like, a cart full of equipment that you were wheeling in and out. Luckily, it was just enough space in that little glass square of a space to have these carts that we were using, thankfully, to fully close the door and then open the other, but it still wouldn't stop it from being tricky and a pain, honestly. But yeah, let's just see here. Mega explosion is what we do. But yeah, indeedly do broadcast with the mods. Then why was there a second door? Because you get as little dust in as possible. To have it be a confined thingamabob there, only opening one door at once. Keep as much dust out and keep it a super safe environment where people aren't bringing in things they're not supposed to be bringing in and whatnot. It wasn't made in mind for freaking wheeling carts through. It was made in mind to trying to keep as much dust out as is possible. Among other things. It's also a security thing as well. Dust and security are the 2 things that it was. Wow, smack that ass. Because, you know, a server room is the kind of thing that you don't want being messed with. Somebody unplugs the wrong thing, and it's just like, you know, the whole server room of the building is down, and now nobody in the building can, like, work on stuff that they need to, you know? Wouldn't want that to be down. That was an interesting environment working in that server room. There was it was pretty clean there. The environment that we had there was, like, you know, we were dismantling everything and taking it apart and whatnot, but it was, like, a very, like, kept up, you know, high quality kind of server room generally. When I was working in IT, some of the projects that I worked on involved helping out with IT work at a few casinos in my city. And let me tell you, one of the server rooms that I went into in one of those casinos, nowhere near the same level of quality. The high quality server room that I was in is when I was doing a project for the government here where they were essentially moving the server room stuff somewhere else and whatnot. So of course that would be high quality there. But, you know, the casino server room, nowhere near the same level of fanciness. It was still a locked room, and you still had to, like, there was a little sheet where you had to, like, register who's going in at what time, and, like, what time they're in, what time they're out, and whatnot, so they know, you know, if something goes wrong with the server room, who's potentially responsible and whatnot, because server room of a casino goes down, that's gonna be no bueno and whatnot, and you need to get a security guard's permission to enter the server room and tinker around in there. But it was just, like, a square room that was probably never intended to be a server room, and you know, like, server racks, right? Where you look up images of, like, a server room, or maybe look at any freaking movie of, like, look at any freaking spy movie where they go into a server room and it's just, like, the cabinets full of, like, equipment and whatnot. this room was filled with those cabinets, but like the project I was working on for the government had like all the cabinets like in neat rows, all organized and stuff like that, in a nice orderly manner. The one at this casino had like this entire square room was just filled to the brim with server racks. There was probably like somewhere close to 50 server racks in there, and only 3 of them were in use at like the very end of the room. And they weren't in any order. They were just like filled up there to the brim as like a MISC storage room for these MISC server racks that weren't even being used. So you had to like step over and past server rack willy-nilly to actually get to the freaking super tiny smidge of actual server room at the end of the room. It was atrocious. Like, my goodness, they could absolutely find a better place for so many server racks there, and it would definitely speed up IT work in that casino, let me tell you. It would definitely speed things up. If I could tell one thing to whoever the manager of that casino is, freaking sort out your server room. Because my good gracious, you want this, Carvia? But yeah, let's just see here. Wait, so this world is supposed to be like some computer technology world or server room of some sort then? What, the world that we're in right now in Dis? We're just in some weird technology place or something. Do people want to buy things? No. Dare I check? I didn't quit. I never quit. It was a summer job. Is what it was. It was a great job, actually. I was assigned to a lot of different projects there. I worked for an IT company that did work for other companies, essentially. They did contract IT work for other companies. So throughout my, like, 4 months that I was working there, I worked at a few different casinos. I worked for the government with that one server room. I also worked for the government wiping a bunch of laptops that they use for elections. Like, doing a complete factory reset on, I believe it was 1,600 laptops over the course of, like, a week. So that was a little bit time consuming. Oh noes! What on Robot Earth? Kawaii-chan! What? Robo Kawaii-chan, what the hell? One of my longer projects was working for a construction company called SMS. Let's see here. So I worked for a lot of companies at that job because I was working for like a different parent company that was, you know, doing IT work for these other companies. So essentially, they would, you know, keep an eye out for different projects to assign me to and give me experience with. So I got experience at like a lot of different things and whatnot. That was a couple of years ago now. Gift of Divine Power. How are you doing today, Gangster Samurai? Robloxer's Shield Sparkles power awakened. Give me a one-time protection from damage. Being targeted by an enemy. You'll take a big hit if you don't do something, but don't worry. Using the shield sprinkles, any damage will magically disappear. Shield sprinkles will help you if you are targeted. Remember that. Ho ho. So, like that? Okay. But yeah, honestly, I had a really good time with like the different projects that I worked on and whatnot. Like when I was working for, when I was on the SMS project, for example. So, would you like up on the couch? Would you like up there? You can go up, big jump. There you go. When I was working on that project, my co-workers, we weren't like anywhere on site for this construction company. We were setting up computers for them at the actual like offices for the parent company that we were working for and whatnot, like setting up computers for them. There was a TV in this room that we were in because it was intended as a meeting room that was just being repurposed for this project because it wasn't being used for meetings. So it just got repurposed for that essentially. So I'd be talking with my coworkers and they would like reference something that I wouldn't get. And I would be like, I don't get that. And they were like, what? Have you not seen like X meme? And I would be like, no. And they turn on the TV and go to YouTube just to find whatever meme they were talking about and show it to me. There we go. So we blocked that, I guess. Cool. There was also one day, so like there was one room that we had like just down the hall from that room that had like all these computers that we were setting up, which were like in these brand new boxes and whatnot. Like they're all, you know, brand new boxes of computers that we had to like set up and connect to the construction company's network and all that stuff. And this room would usually be like its own separate room and be locked because, you know, there's thousands of dollars worth of computers in there and whatnot. But with this project, I was always the first person to arrive in the morning, but I was always also the first person to leave at the end of the day. The same at both. So my two coworkers, knowing this, hi T, whoa. So my coworkers, knowing this, despite the fact that, like, per policy, the computers were supposed to be in, like, the locked secure room, they're like, nah, let's just negate that for the sake of, like, memes and whatnot. So after I left one day, they took a bunch of new computers and they built, like, an igloo of computers around my desk. So when I got to work the following morning, I just find that my chair is, like, surrounded by, like, an igloo of brand new boxed computers, essentially. So before I could start working for the day, I had to, like, dismantle this igloo of new computers. It was certainly something. So yeah, I was definitely not a job that I quit. It was a summer job, and that was in 2019. That was the summer of 2019, and I wanted to go back in 2020, and they implied that I could come back in 2020 with words like, "Oh, we'll be sure to have some better projects for you next summer." But then COVID hit, and now this summer is like, I did a summer semester or spring semester the past couple months of May to June and whatnot, and now for July to August I'm not going to be taking a summer class, but I'm going to be working for my university with some work that I do there, some part-time work that there's probably enough work right there right now to be doing it full-time as well. Look at this IT. But regardless, maybe next year it will have been a 3-year difference, but maybe next year I could reach out again and be like, hey, looking for another summer student again? Because honestly, it was a really nice company. It was honestly really good. It was real neato. Boopity bop. Yeah, freaking do the thingamabob. Really nice people there. I enjoyed my time there. It was a nice time. Also, I got really lucky with that position because apparently it's like a very sought after position by a lot of people looking to work in IT in the future. And I'm not even looking to work in IT in the future, but like it has to sort of do with computers and whatnot, I guess, which is, you know, stuff that I'm studying anyway. Like it's closely related enough. They apparently only hired 2 summer students and they had like hundreds of people apply. And the other summer student that got hired was the boss's son. The reason why I got hired was because I had a cousin that worked there that was able to recommend me. So I got really lucky with that. So the same cousin that I've talked about on this stream multiple times. The same cousin who was a bit ahead of me in Mario Golf. The same cousin who freaking would talk to me about Bravely Default 2 stuff, and probably a bazillion other playthroughs where I've mentioned him. almost all the time on this stream, if I mention a cousin, it's usually him, like freaking 80% of the time. Not always, but usually is gonna be that guy, is a thing. Energy drain. What a weird little movement Carvey does. My goodness, dude, the jump slash, sweet. But yeah, so I lucked out getting that position there. To this day, most impressive. It's weird because, like, to this day, I have not gotten a job, like, on my own, going out into the world and whatnot. Every single position that I've gotten at, like, any job, RoboJuice, a higher starred one, has been through, like, referrals by people that I knew. Like, the summer before I worked at this IT job, I did a summer working in duct cleaning with Weiss Johnson. And it was something new that they were trying out. Look at that, you got your face back. Am I back to normal? And how I got that position is I was desperately looking for jobs, and my dad was working at Weiss at the time, and, he was on his lunch break, and he was, like, going past the person who would become my boss, and my dad asked him, how's your day going? And that is essentially one thing leading to another how I got the job, because the person who had become my boss answered with, it's going awful, we just had somebody quit today in a position that we really needed, so now we need to, like, desperately fill this position now because he just quit out of nowhere with, like, no notice. And my dad was like, oh, well, my son's looking for a job. So I came in for an interview the next day and got hired on the spot. It was interesting. Think that I, a scholar of robotics, nearly became a robot, huh? Who'd have thought such a thing possible? Oh, yes, while you're here. What you gonna give me? Around here, wasn't it? Is it gonna be our first gem? Yep, so we're gonna need 3 more. This is what you were after. Oh, yes, that's it. You got the nose jewel for Squidward. Here, please take it. Thank you. We finished Kawaii-chan's quest. The Darker Lord's in the skyscraper, right? And this is one of the jewels that open the entrance. Alright, let's see if we can find the rest. So we probably have to do more quests. Then we can climb to the top of the skyscraper, top of Temporal Tower, and teach that Darker Lord a lesson. Not to mention rescue the Great Sage.
Hold on, Morgan. We won't be long now.
But yeah, I had fun with that position as well. Like, that one was more hard work because it was like physical labor stuff and whatnot. But honestly, it was a pretty chill environment as well. The people there were really nice. I had a lot of fun with my work partner because my work partner and I would make SpongeBob references with one another all the time. This electric keyboard here, that right there, I bought that from my old work partner from working at Weiss. So I was catching up with him a little bit when I picked that up from him early this year. And, like, he's still working there and whatnot. And, you know, he's obviously got a partner that isn't me nowadays, since I was just doing it as a summer thing. They weren't even intending to hire a summer student. They just hired me as like a buffer, considering they had somebody quit when they did, and it was like, yeah, we can have this position filled by this guy for like these few months, and that gives us time to actually find somebody to fill it as like a permanent role. So it wasn't even intended as a summer position, but it worked out like that in like a desperate, you know, last measure thingamabob that they had to do. When I was catching up with my work partner, when I bought that keyboard off of him, I asked him about his current work partner, and he says that he gets along just fine with his current work partner. And I asked him, does he make as many SpongeBob references as we did together? And he told me, no, you were better. So what he told me, which cracked me up, because we used to do that all the time. My goodness. Here, take the Robo Juice stuff, see if you like it. Professor Oak found it delicious. Like, I've talked about this work partner on this stream a couple times. I don't remember what game I was playing. I don't know if it was Miitopia or something else, where it was during some stream of some game, I don't remember where it was, where I made the joke of, what do we want? Airplane noises. When do we want them? Meow. And then I mentioned during whatever stream that was that I freaking have that joke in the back of my mind now until the end of time, because it was something that my work partner told to me with no context in the middle of a job one day. Like, there was literally nothing that brought it on. We were in the middle of a job one day, and Macho Catsuit, and he just like leans over to me as like, what do we want? Airplane noises. When do we want them? Meow. My goodness, I kind of miss both my past jobs. Look at this macho-ness. My goodness. Honestly, both my duct cleaning job at Weiss and my IT job at Longview, honestly, I kind of miss both them in a way. Rock costume. Like, both were hard work at the end of the day, but my goodness if they weren't both a fun environment. Like, I lucked out with those positions, quite frankly. It was great. It was pretty good. I've had some good laughs in both those jobs, and a lot of stories to share. Darker Lord moved from a volcano penthouse to a tower designed to protect time. Yeah, absolutely. That's what's going on here. Absolutely. I don't know if I have as many stories from like projects like the freaking dismantling the IT room when it came to that IT job. When it came to that one job that I had for the government of resetting 1,600 laptops, I was part of a team of 3 or 4. It would change on a day-to-day basis depending on who could come in, and it was really interesting. You can reset, you know, a computer pretty fast, but to do like a full-on factory reset to change every like 1 to a 0, that takes like over an hour is a thing. That takes a good while. Sure, let's go with that squad, I guess. Because even if you delete something on a computer, it's still gonna technically exist. The computer just like pretends it's not there and can overwrite it with other stuff. So like, assuming things don't get overwritten by anything super fast, a skilled hacker could in theory still recover certain things. So for these laptops that were being used for elections, they wanted like a full reset of like, you know, full factory reset, change each 1 to a 0 and all that fun stuff. So we would do that for like, they had like a few stations for us where we set up these laptops to do exactly that, but we managed to get like as many tables as we could to set this up, and we got literally batches of 80 at a time going. So like, it would be spurts of work of like, you know, it'd be hard work for like 25 minutes or ish, something like that, where it's like you have to pack up the current computers, write down their serial numbers, put them in the cases, get them all loaded up, get the next batch, plug them in, get the resetting process set up. But then from there, you literally just sit around and wait for like an hour and a half for them all to like factory reset themselves. So it was like one of the most chill jobs I'd ever had, because it was like hard work for like 25 minutes, and then you just like get to do whatever you want for like an hour and a half. Then 25 minutes of hard work, then just do whatever you want for like an hour and a half. So I started taking my switch into switch into work, and I started playing Bomberman with my coworkers, who weren't even much of gamers themselves, but anybody can play Bomberman because all I have to do is move around and place bombs, and it was a lot of fun. So me and my coworkers had a lot of fun playing Bomberman with one another. That was a good time. But they would all be done with their like full-on factory reset at about the same time, and with like audio enabled and whatnot. And these like laptop Chromebook thingamabobs would always, like, when they're booted up for what's considered the first time after factory reset, it would lead with, "Hi, I'm Cortana, your virtual assistant," and a whole bunch of other text. And we would have 80 laptops doing this at the exact same time. So, you know, we'd just be chilling there, either just relaxing, maybe eating some food, maybe playing Bomberman, and then eventually the time would come that the entire room would just reverberate with like a whole choir echo of, "Hi, I'm Cortana, your virtual assistant." And I wonder if I have it on my computer anywhere. I had a video of like recording that once, just like the entire room reverberating with, "Hi, I'm Cortana, hi, I'm Cortana," and it was the funniest thing. But it was really funny. There was literally over 1,600 Chromebooks or laptops for us to reset, and they expected us to take 5 weeks to do that job. We did it in 6 days with our system. Like, we literally did it like freaking 4-ish times faster than they initially expected us to do, just because of like the ideas that we came up with the multiple tables and whatnot. And despite us doing it like 4 or 5 times faster than they anticipated, like 80% of that job was just sitting around and doing nothing, which is so weird to think about, isn't it? That was like my favorite job I've ever worked. We were so ahead of schedule, despite 90% of what we were doing just being sitting around and like doing whatever we wanted. Like, we were literally getting paid to play Bomberman, for example. It was great. And they were commending us by the end of it, being like, "My goodness, we expected this to take over a month. You finished it in just over a week. How do you do that?" We were like, "We just set up a whole bunch at once, and then we like played video games and stuff." And they were like, "Wow, you're incredible." It wasn't exactly how it went, but you know, that's general. that's the story of that. Oh my, this is intolerable. I finally get a vacation, and now there's this Darker Lord running around. I still have nightmares about the old Dark Lord, Gus Fring. Oh, hello, you. You haven't seen any jewels in the shape of eyes or noses around, have you? Now that you mention it, not long ago, I did get a hold of a weird jewel. Does that sound like what you're after? Could be, yeah. Sorry, though, I had to throw it out. What? Where? Some ruins in the desert. Would you like to go? Mr. White's quest. Why don't you look for the strange jewel in the underground labyrinth? Except for Mr. White's quest. This is probably gonna be where I wrap things up, though. Okay, I'll show you where it is. If you find it, I'll let you have it for free. I don't know why you're coming with us for that, though. Freaking Punster Cap Mr. Bean. Bean. Oh, dear. You have a minute. So my perfect little guy Toby did a bad thing. He turned up one day with a spooky looking jewel. I yelled at him and told him to go throw it away. Bean. But I guess I scared him, and he ran away from home. Now I'm worried. Will you help me search for my little Toby? So yeah, so that's gonna be with a jewel as well. We'll be doing the one for Mr. White first. And then we have Isabel over here, thespian thief Isabel.
Do you think you could help me? It's about my friend Ouija. She picked up this weird jewel. Then it happened. This giant monster swooped down out of nowhere and flew off with her. I was so terrified that I ran off. But now I feel dreadful.
Well, can you help me rescue Ouija? We'll do it later. We'll see if it's still Isabel by then. So we'll do. I'm sorry, Ouija. We will later. I just wanted to recruit a new guest character before we wrap things up, because just in case I decide to do like any, you know, if I do like any other levels off camera of like doing the other routes and whatnot, then so it's a new way there. Then I wouldn't mind having a freaking guest character just help us along for free, which we didn't even get from that. So never mind. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, I guess. What the hell? Let's just go into the inn and wrap things up, I suppose. Anybody want to buy things? Nah, because it didn't reset after the thingamabob. Before we wrap things up, let's go on a quick trip to the cafe. with Brock. I guess there's freaking Ouija. I thought that it would be like the Luigi when I heard the name, but then they said she, so maybe it's not that Ouija. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Hey, look, it's Kuzma again. What you drinking? Bit of goblin soup. Yum. You drink soup of goblin? Only every chance I get, that's all. Want a Sipsky Harmonia? No, but yes. Oof, that is hearty. I think I love it. What the heck? Well. Cool. Maybe sort of likes. Learn praise together. Cool. Welp. But yeah, been streaming for a bit now. Oh, we got some more Hemogoblin ham. We got some more of it, apparently. Yeah, you all like this stuff. Here you go, Arnold. You can have that, I suppose. And then... you like that. Let's give you them both, Arnold, I guess. There you go. Arnold is content is gonna gain another attack from that. Cool. Cool, cool. But yeah, it's getting late. I need to get some rest and prepare to stream freaking Watch Dogs Legion Bloodline when that releases later today. Interestingly enough, so that's a thing that we'll be doing. Get some rest before that, and I'll be busy with other things coming up anyway, so probably good to get some sleep, methinks. So, thanks all who stopped by and hung out for these shenanigans, and take care all, and see ya. And listen, the freaking theme is like it's a deserty one right now, isn't that crazy?